Alright, y'all. Truth and love, everybody. Christelle Laura here with Learning Thyself, and I'm here to tell you things I'm learning about myself in hopes and confidence that it'll help you along your journey. Alright? Get a little Palo Santo in here, get some good, it's dying down now, but get some good positive energy in here. If you're listening, thank you so much. If you're watching, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I know it's been a long time. And but I'm back. I'm glad I never got rid of this podcast from either the YouTube and the podcast itself. So yeah, round of applause for me. Round of applause for me. Yeah. That's right. You're supposed to celebrate yourself. So I won't be on here for too long. I really just want to tell you guys that if you have had this podcast just chilling in your back pocket the whole time, whether you listen to it or not, if you have subscribed to it, I appreciate you. If you have listened to it, I just want to say thank you to everybody, and I thank you to everybody who has ever helped me on my spiritual journey, helped me to grow, ever prayed for me, ever wanted better for me. I will love you to the end of time. Alright? I was gonna make this like a quick video just to see what's what, just because I haven't done this in a while in terms of just with the podcast in general, you know what I'm saying? So while I'm on here, I want to talk about perfectionism, because it is the reason why I have not stayed consistent, not only in my podcast, but with anything I've ever done. Consistency has always been an issue with me. And the reason for that is I was suffering from a dis-ease called perfectionism. A lot of people wouldn't think that perfectionism is I'm not even going to say disease, but it was. It went from a dis-ease to a disease for me. It really developed so strongly that I couldn't stay consistent in anything that I was doing. And as a side note, when I speak, I channel a lot. None of what I say is scripted. Okay? Everything is from the bottom of my heart and the top of my dome. And when I speak, I channel a lot. I get a lot of messages. And so I thank you in advance for staying patient with me if I somehow veer off track or something, because the messages can be loud and strong. And really nothing I can do about it. There is no off button. There is no pause button to it. You know what I'm saying? So I thank you in advance for your patience. But perfectionism, for me, is one of the biggest reasons why I haven't been able to move consistently throughout my life the way I always really wanted to. A lot of people, and I did this at one point, I would pride myself on being a perfectionist, getting things a certain way, you know what I'm saying? People trying to tell me I have OCD. Doctors had diagnosed me with OCD, and I didn't believe it or none of that. I just felt like everything was art and everything had its place. I'm a very orderly and organized person. But I didn't know that I had so much fear encased in this thing called perfectionism. My fear was if I did one little thing wrong, or one little thing incorrect, it would fuck up my whole shit. And so with any project that I ever did, I would start it and I would start really strong, and then I would start all over. And when I say start all over, I meant a lot of times I would, create a whole YouTube channel, do my thing, go strong, and then take the channel off. It wasn't good enough here, it wasn't strong enough there, and that was part of my biggest issue. It wasn't enough. It wasn't good enough. So not only was I fearful of the details, I was micromanaging myself. And if micromanagement could be a fucking nesting doll, that would be my mind. You know what I'm saying? Where I would micromanage this, and then I would micromanage that, and then I would micromanage the micromanager inside my mind, and it would go and go and go. And just by hearing me talk about this, I'm sure you're probably fucking exhausted of hearing it. It's an exhausting energy. So my fear was, that I would fuck it up. Number two is what I just said was not being enough, or not something, or me not being good enough. And I think a lot of people can relate to it whether they realize it or not. I think many people can relate to it when I say that when we think of ourselves as perfectionists, those who think of themselves that way, it seems like, for some reason, I want to say a kind gesture, but it seems like it is godly and the most righteous thing to be is a perfectionist, when in all actuality it's extremely vain, because you're really emphasizing on something just never ever being good enough, something never ever being enough. What I learned within myself, and what I'm continuing to learn, is that if I don't think I'm good enough, but I've chosen not to address that, then it's gonna leak into my work, because I am a part of my work. But if I'm sweeping part of myself under the rug, and that part of myself needs to be healed, then I'm putting out unhealed energy within my work. And so I'm sitting here chasing for perfect opportunity, perfect pitch, perfect this, perfect that. Everything has to be perfect. And if it doesn't work out my way, then my world crumbles. And my world will continue to crumble because I'm building it with the same shitty material. You see what I'm saying? And so once I started to work on myself and started to accept myself for who I am, what I am, accept my journey as it's been, then I started to say, okay, well, I'm okay with my project looking like this. I'm okay with my artwork looking like that. And I really started to ease up off myself. You know what I'm saying? Back the fuck up. You see what I'm saying? I started to finally take the pressure off of myself and remind myself that I'm perfect just the way I am. And we'll say, oh, nobody's perfect. Everybody is perfectly imperfect, in my personal opinion. All of our imperfections are perfect because it helps continue to create the lessons that need to be learned, the so-called mistakes and all the rocks and stumbles and everything is the way it is, and that's how it's supposed to be, and that is okay. Because if I'm sitting here and it's God will have it the way God will have it, or and that's what I say. You may say the universe, you may say your higher self, you may say whatever. God made us all perfectly imperfect for a reason. And so for me to go above God's vision, that's where vanity comes in. And so I started to just hang back, reevaluate myself, my intentions, and not start over, but be kind to myself for what I've done on my journey so far. For me to be pleased and say, you know what? Maybe this didn't work out, or I didn't allow for that to work out. But what did work out was that I did something. I put something out. And even though it didn't get the results I wanted, God's results for me was to learn. Just for me to take the picture that I drew, sit back and look at it and say, wow, you know what? No, this right here didn't get 100,000 views, and I didn't get more subscribers from that. But I did learn to subscribe to my truest self. And I learned to view myself and my work much differently. And I have such a greater appreciation for the stuff that I put out, for the stuff that I haven't put out, but still knew I had the ability to create. You know what I'm saying? And I started to love myself more. And that was the most important part of everything. Not just to learn myself, but to love myself more. And then those two together, it helped me to heal myself on a deeper level. And I'm still working. I'm still working through this. You know what I'm saying? My moon sign is in Virgo, and my south node is in Virgo. My sun sign is Capricorn. So when I tell you I be fucking meticulous about shit, it's heavy. These little things I kept tripping up on added up to be something extremely heavy on me. And I had to let it all go. And I'm so grateful that I did. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm seeing myself in a different light. And the more I see myself in a higher light, I'm in a higher vibration, the closer and closer and closer and closer I get to God. And I'm so proud of myself. And for anybody out there that has ever had an issue with perfectionism or a level of OCD, and has really had an issue with being consistent and putting your stuff out there, I'm telling you right now, put your stuff out there. Put your stuff out there. Because no matter whatever big fears you have, you are going to have to get through it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you think about having like your biggest fears, and it's this giant boulder. You don't just step over it. You can't say go gadget kneecaps and then just over that shit. You know what I'm saying? It don't work that way. Or you can't jump over it and fly over it. Nothing. If you try to dig underground, that boulder is gonna cave in on you. You gotta find a way to get through it, and it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be shitty. You're gonna be sweaty. You might piss yourself a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Whatever happens, it's gonna be messy. It's supposed to. And that's the thing about being a perfectionism. I don't be wanting shit messy. You know what I'm saying? But I remember my cousin from back in the day, he told me, he said, because he had to work through the same thing in so many words, but he would tell me, sometimes I get down on myself if, my apartment's a little bit of a mess, but if it's a little bit of a mess, then it's okay, because if it was always clean, then I would never have nothing to clean. Because the art of cleaning is a whole nother topic. You know what I'm saying? And he said that, and it always stuck with me. And it full circled many times, but I finally got to the point where it full circled and it stuck, and I'm truly breaking the cycle of perfectionism and not stopping myself. If shit gets a little bit messy, cool. If people got a problem with your mess and they throw these bullshit comments in your direction and throw all kinds of shade in your shit, that's supposed to happen. Okay? Opportunities are not without ops. If you think about it, And so I am finally in a place of peace, staying consistent, and appreciating every single thing that I'm doing. It really is that my original thing that I wanted to do growing up was to be an architect. And I'll never forget that, when you take architecture classes, the math has to be so on point. The measurements have to be so on point. Is if you fuck up a centimeter on a blueprint, you can mess up an entire mile on the actual bridge or on the actual building that you're doing. You see what I'm saying? Or not a mile on a building, but you know what I mean. Something very minute as a mistake in the blueprint can be widely fucked when you really build it and put it together. And I realized I can't look at everything like architects. I'll look at not everything is architectural. It is, but it isn't. I had to accept the abstract. I had to accept that when you're doing sketches, that you're gonna have eraser marks before you get to the rest of it. It's gonna be messy. I mean, even when I did black and white sketches, I never did shapes. If someone were to tell me you gotta draw what's in front of you, I never did shapes and guidelines. I always drew it exactly how it was supposed to go. And so that was my perspective and how I was running, my projects. And I said to myself, I can look at it like it's art, but there's all kinds of art. Let me stop being so stiff in the shoulders, okay, and just driving myself batshit crazy. Because I love myself from head to toe. But I get on my own fucking nerves. I ain't playing. You know what I'm saying? So all this to say, if you got work out there that you want people to see, show that shit. Show that shit. Be proud of that shit. You did that. You, as a vessel of the universe, as a vessel of God, surrendered so much so that you allow God to take your hands and take your mind, become a visionary and draw this out or write that out or sculpt this out or whatever your life looks like, whatever you want it to look like. Put your work out there. Put yourself out there. Enjoy what you're doing. Because you can't enjoy what you're doing when everything is about perfectionism. You're just going to stress yourself out. And I'm telling you this from personal experience. All right? But in the meantime, if you feel like you can't don't think about transitioning too quickly on your journey when it comes to moving from being a perfectionist to not being a perfectionist or going from one thing to another thing. Enjoy your journey. Stay in the moment, okay? I don't have to know you to tell you that I'm proud of you. I'm fucking proud of you, and you got so much more to go, okay? Stay open-hearted. Stay open-minded. I'm going to be seeing you guys soon. Please check out my Instagram, LearninThyself Podcast on Instagram. I also have Krista Elora on Instagram. Also Krista Elora on YouTube. And Krista Elora the Oracle, both on Instagram, Patreon, and YouTube. I got a lot going. I done backed my shit up so much, and God's like, boom, do it all, smack. Let's go. Let's do this. You know what I'm saying? Because for me, whatever message I can get out there to help people, to heal people, to help people to remember themselves and gain their power back, that is what I'm here for. And I'm using myself and my experiences, my journey to for you guys to bounce off of it and all the lessons that I've learned. Allowing wisdom to be my love language, because it is, and I love it. I love sharing what I've learned with you guys. Okay, so thank you for your patience. If you've had my podcast this entire time, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I love you guys very much. Peace.